Good evening, Fernwood. It is your TV pal Neil, and it's time for some more late night variety madness with another episode of Fernwood Tonight. If you are just seeing my face for the first time, I've reacted to all of Mary Hartman, and we are continuing that tradition with Fernwood Tonight. We watch the show together, then we talk about it because we like to be sociable. Everyone, today we are watching episode 20. This is the end of the fourth week of the series. This is from July 29th, 1977. And yesterday we got into some potential controversy. Let's review. Barth Gimbel reminded us of folk music and said that he had done some research into the first song written within the 3-mile barrier of the United States. So he leads us all on a shanty about what it was like to be a man surrounded by men. Then we bring up two ladies against pornography, Nettie Foreman and Barbie Osgood. They share their complaints, at least one of which is that they are not included in them. We then bring on Richard Maltby, who has been known for taking American citizens and helping them get jobs across the border in Mexico. And then after having gotten out of prison for that, he is changing careers to open a boutique, though Jerry isn't sure he wants to take a shirt for free. And that's everyone where the show ended yesterday. So let us begin today's Friday episode.
Tonight from Fernwood, Fernwood Tonight, coming to you live with your host for tonight, Mr. Barth Gimbel. Tonight, Barth's guest will be the spectacular Las Vegas-type debut of the Debbie Dunbar Show. The spectacular story of the man who died, told by the man himself. The spectacular crash of Virgil Sims, the ex-mobile home daredevil, and Happy Kind and the Mirth Makers. And me, I'm Jerry Hubbard. And now your host and mine, Mr. Barth Gimbel.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much, and welcome once again to Fernwood Tonight. I'm Barth Gimbel, as we've said maybe too many times. I know I have. It's just kind of fun to be able to spread a little... Oh, something break back there? Too bad it wasn't mine. You know, it's one thing to spread happiness here on television for half an hour every night. But to me, it's so much more intriguing to be able to spread happiness throughout the day and night. On bumpers, T-shirts, on drinking glasses, on coasters, on decorative placemats. Impossible? Yep. But it's been done. Think of how many times every day your day has been brightened by that little happy yellow face with the big smile and no nose. Cute, isn't it? And the man that's really having a nice day, of course, is the guy who invented this sucker. He's probably driving around right now in the finest car in America, the Cadillac Eldorado Brougham Coupe with D-Squire option and factory air. That's not a brand name, is it? And for what, really? A simple circle, 2 dots, and a curved line. Now, I'm not knocking the man's success, because I think, frankly, he's done something very important. He's brought increased happiness to the people of America. But I want to ask you this. Are we so nationalistic that we can't think of bringing happiness to those less fortunate enough to live in other countries? Let him have his Eldorados, what I say. But let's not forget Germany's powerful but luxurious Mercedes. England's Jaguar and Rolls-Royce. Italy's Alfa, and to stretch a point, the Z car from Japan. Now, there's a whole world of potential happiness just waiting to pay off, and I think I know how to make it happen. Stay with me. Okay. You know, the beauty of the happy face actually is its simplicity and the fact that it's only copywritten in this country. I think you're starting to catch my drift. Now, just for starters, let's bring a little happiness to Germany. We'll start with the basic. There they are. They're happier already. And of course, we could sell this as well in Argentina. In fact, you know, we could even afford to bomb in some markets. Who cares? Let's say that the Chinese, let's say that these guys prefer communism to having a nice day. Okay, with no waste in paper and a relatively short boat ride, we are in the black in Japan. Speaking of being in the black, I think the dark continent could use a little brightening. Do you know what I mean? So we'll simply sell them over there. These things would go like hotcakes as far as I'm concerned. The list and the potential dollars, it's endless. Here we go. France. How about this one? Australia. Proving you don't have to be down under. And of course, Siam. Another thought would be celebrity happy faces, which will remind you of your favorite star having a nice day. Kirk Douglas. Sammy Davis Jr. Some of them might even be collectible, such as having your own original Picasso. Now, Picasso is perfect because he's famous and he's dead, so he can't sue. It's obviously an opportunity to get in on the ground floor of what's going on. I think to be a very tall high-rise. Now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be putting these things out ourselves as a part of Gimbal Corporation, my own personal corporation. If you people would like to be a part of that, boy, you're welcome. So let's say maybe some of you people might be broke and out of work and you're down to your last $20. Well, here's your opportunity to double it. Send your last $20 before you forget to Barth Gimbal, care of this station. Or, if you'd rather save the postage since you're down to your last 20, I can understand that. Call me right after the show at 555-5624. That's 555-5624. And I'll come over and pick it up personally. Okay? I think we got ourselves a deal. All right? Thank you. If I can't share the gimbal brain with you, my friends, what's it for, okay? Tonight is really the show business debut of the Debbie Dunbar show. A lot of money and rehearsal and creativity has gone into their production, and Fernwood has never seen the likes of it before. It's with great pride that I introduce to you a young lady that started here just by being spanked. And in our corporal punishment show, of course, from the high school. She was quite good. She needed more development. She has personal management now. And I think that we should all welcome her, not only to our stage, but indeed to the whole show business world. Ladies and gentlemen, the Debbie Dunbar Review. Debbie, come on over here. You two girls go take a shower, okay? Debbie Dunbar, for crying out loud.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Excuse you.
Lost that dancer's grace there. I can say this, I have never seen a performance like that in my life.
How come?
Well, I don't know. I just never have.
Great answer, Debbie. Debbie... Debbie, I guess that doctorate degree in cybernetics is going to have to take kind of a back seat for a while until that star goes as far as it can go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Boy, we'll be right back after these important words. Thanks, Happy. Debbie, you were terrific, huh?
Yes, she was. Had a little bit of everything in that act. Dancing, singing.
Right. I'm sure everyone has asked himself the question, what happens after death? Well, most people can't know until they die, and that seems like a lot of trouble to go through just to answer one question, doesn't it? But now, with the wonders of medical science being what they are, there are some people who have actually been declared legally dead and have remarkably been brought back to life. My next guest is a man who has had that incredible experience. You can't call it anything less, that's for sure. Please welcome one of Fernwood's finest, Lieutenant Leonard Trask. How are you?
Maybe
Well.
we can inject a little life into the show here. Let's hope.
Lieutenant, let's get to the background of your death. How did it happen?
Well, I suffered from a severe heart attack in November.
Whoa, that's no fun. No picnic.
The paramedics arrived and worked on me for a few minutes, but I did not respond, so I was declared legally dead. However, they kept working, and I regained life.
Oh, great.
Then they put me into the ambulance. And on the ride to the hospital, I was declared legally dead a second time. However, they kept working, they kept laboring, and finally, we made it to the hospital.
Okay.
There, I was placed in intensive care, where I passed away for the third time.
Oh, no.
Even with intensive care, eh?
Oh, yes. However, the doctors worked feverishly, and eventually, I was brought back to life the third time.
Of course, they're getting
Where
paid.
I have remained ever since.
Well, that's great. That's a fantastic. I knew you had died, and that was enough for me right there. But 3 times. Holy cow. That must have been kind of confusing for those doctors, and for you, for that matter, the more I think about it.
You know, you're lucky you were able to leave and come back 3 times. You couldn't do that if you were playing in a baseball game, could you?
I never thought of that.
They might tighten up the rules someday and enforce those laws as to who is dead and who is alive. And, you know, once you're gone, bango.
So,
Now, the question on all our minds is, what was death like?
the first time that I died, I remembered hearing a paramedic saying, "We've lost him, George. He's a stiff." Now, my first reaction was laughter, because I thought he was kidding around. I'm sure that if I were in that situation, I would try humor
Sure.
to loosen up a stricken person.
Sure.
I tried to tell him that was pretty funny, but he didn't hear me. I shouted, I yelled, but he still didn't hear me.
Woo. What happened then?
I said to myself, uh-oh, here's trouble.
Did you feel any pain, or was it pleasant in a funny way?
Well, I was sort of floating around above the room, and I had a strange feeling that I was mowing my lawn with a hand mower.
You're alive again, you're in the ambulance, and you die once more. Now, what raced through your brain this time?
I said to myself, I remember saying it, oh no, not again.
Understatement of the week, eh?
Or the hour. Apparently this all happened very quickly. Did you still have that feeling of pushing the old power mower?
No. This time, it was a feeling like when you put up your storm windows, sort of lifting and fitting the windows in. A very strange feeling.
Let's get into death number 3.
Well, the third time I died, once again, I rose above my body. and I could look down and see the doctors and nurses working on me. I remember trying to tell them not to worry, that I would be back. Because I had no reason to doubt that. I had already come back twice before.
And they're paid very well to do what they do.
And they were working hard to keep you alive, so someone would be there to pay those bills.
That's right.
That is true. That is true.
And did you have any of those feelings of mowing the lawn or putting in the storm windows at that time?
No. The third time, I felt that I was changing a floodlight in my backyard.
One that had burned out.
Oh, yes, sure, because when you're dead, you don't have much time to run around unscrewing good light bulbs.
Basically, what you're telling us is that you found death to be a constant stream of little chores around the house.
Yes, really, it was very comforting.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you, Leonard, and if you should happen to die again, we're dying to have you back. Okay? We'll be right back after this message. Oh, I'm sorry. It's kind of a bad taste there on my part with your history and being a detective and all.
It'd be very dramatic if he would go and come back right here on the show, huh?
Well, death is dramatic. There's no question about that. Fascinating.
Yeah.
My next guest is probably the top auto mechanic in the Tri-County area here. That would, of course, include Fernwood, where he lives here. Not that the distinction alone would, of course, not be enough to get him on an important television show like this one, but he also happens to be the world's first mobile home daredevil.
Oh, yes.
He's been here before. Let's welcome him back, Mr. Virgil Sims.
All right. Look at this, 3 death-defying acts on the same couch.
That's right.
I'm just joking, Debbie.
Okay, Virgil, last time you were here, we talked about you were preparing a spectacular show at the Speedway where you were going to jump you were going to jump 3 motorcycles, if I recall, 3 over a mobile home. Is that right? Or are you going to jump? No, you were jumping 3 motorcycles with a mobile home. That's what
right.
it was.
I was attempting to jump those motorcycles with a full-size, fully equipped mobile home.
Yep. You can say the brand name if you like. That'd be no problem.
No,
I'd appreciate it.
It's a Winnebago.
Winnebago.
And as most of the viewers know, I missed the landing ramp and hit the wall there by the bleachers. And kind of crashed up a little bit there.
Flames and everything. A lot of people told me that the flames were visible for miles and miles.
Yeah, all around the entire area there, Barth, where the Speedway used to be.
Of course, they're fully insured. The Speedway went right up in flames, though, didn't it?
Yeah, like nothing you ever seen.
Well, all's well that ends well, though, huh?
Yeah.
Sorry. Does that mean you're pretty much out of the daredevil mobile home jumping business here?
Well, I don't know yet. Of course, I won't know for sure until my fans get out of the hospital. But
they could still be 150% behind you.
That's right. There's a big turnout that day, too, wasn't there? Unfortunately, as it turns out.
I'll tell you, that's one thing about these people here in Fernwood. They can be lying in there with 80% of their body covered with third-degree burns, and their main concern is for you and the fact you didn't make the jump. Some wonderful people.
As it turns out, you're sitting here on television, and they're still laid up, probably with their feet. One of those.
And you've got their $1.50.
Well, I was going to kind of ask you, Barth, if you could help me out. I've been wanting to organize a telethon to raise money, kind of cover my lawsuits.
Well, we could possibly work that out. Of course, there's operating expenses, and we'll have to take all of those out first, and if there's anything left, that's yours, and I think it's an admirable thing to do. It's wonderful. Exactly, what else are you going to be doing here now? You're working on
Well, I'm teaching classes up to high school on automobile repairs and such.
Try to bring things back together there.
That's right. One of my most popular classes is how to fix up that old used car and for resale.
people that would like to figure out what they can do to unload that turkey, so
That's
to
right,
speak.
Bob.
And you're teaching at the school. You didn't even finish school, did you, Virgil?
No, I didn't. It feels kind of funny standing up there and teaching instead of in the corner.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Well, can you show us a little bit of what the people that take your course might expect to learn if they go there? They want to learn how to, you said the category was fixing up your old car for resale.
That's right. Here's some helpful hints here on
Brought you
fixing
to
up that old car. First thing you want to do, especially if you got an old car and it burns oil like most old cars do.
Burns what?
Oil.
That'd be oil.
Take you just an ordinary pair of wire pliers
Warplars would be wire pliers.
and snip you about 1.5 inches off that dipstick. It'll read full all day long.
I'll be done. Absolutely. Anything else?
Yeah. Then you take you just the ordinary shortening, like Crisco or what have you,
Crisco, we can say that, I think.
and you just pack it down in there underneath the oil cap as much as you want. And if that engine's hot, well, it'll melt real quick, and this won't burn even at the highest temperatures.
I'll be darned.
And you can really unload that old sucker.
Well, that's fascinating. Now, let's put the shoe on the other foot here. Let's say you're in the market for a used car. What would be some of the things you might teach your students to look for?
Well, the first thing you want to do is take out that dipstick and look and see if it's been snipped off. And then take off your oil cap and smell of it, and if it smells like somebody's been frying chicken in the oil, someone trying to unload one on you.
Wonderful talking to you, and we'll be right back after this important word. Stay with us.
New Coors Light has something no other light beer has.
Thank you, Hap. Boy, the list seems endless. You got all these tools down in there. That's just what's that one there?
That there's your ring adjuster.
Could also double as a common hammer, which is really amazing. We've got some pictures here of that accident. Maybe the people might like to see these here.
Yeah, it was terrible. This is...
Oh, boy.
This is actually...
That's the landing right there.
That's right.
Can we get in on that? Are we getting a glare? Getting glare? Fine.
This a few seconds afterwards. And this is when it hit the concessions there on the ground.
Yeah, you see all those Pepsi fumes. Yeah, that's something. I want to thank you for being here tonight. And Debbie, I think sky's the limit. Lieutenant Trask, maybe sky's the limit for you, too, one of these days. Happy guy in the orchestra, the wonderful Jerry Hubbard, and I really mean that. Hey, that's all we have time for tonight. Good night, folks.
Also appearing on tonight's show were Kathy McCullen as Debbie Dunbar, Arlene Parness and Valerie Miller as the Debbie Dunbar dancers, Billy Beck as Lieutenant Leonard Trask, and Jim Varney as Virgil Sim.
Starting September 25th, the ever-hilarious, always outrageous, and simply magnificent Monty Python's Flying Circus, returning to Channel 13 every weeknight at 11 p.m. Our next Get Smart.
Well, this one at least featured a lot of familiar faces. It got into some icky when Barth was talking about the ubiquitous, I used that word last week, or maybe yesterday, I don't remember when I used it. I used it recently, and this happy face is even more ubiquitous than whatever I was talking about yesterday, because it still exists. I don't know how many decades later, maybe not quite as ever present literally on every car the way that it might have been in the mid-70s, but it is pretty silly how simple this figure is, but completely recognizable. And this is as a person who recognizes cartooning, right, as a skill, or memetics, which is a whole science there that we could dig into. But the fact that it is so immediately recognizable to folks is really astounding how simple it is. Barth takes it into very uncomfortable territory. And when I say that, I mean, I get that the bit is that Barth is a bad person and he doesn't necessarily see how offensive this stuff is. But on the other hand of it, there's literally no one telling him that it's not okay to do this stuff. So people may think it's okay to do the stuff. I don't feel like outlining the things that I'm uncomfortable with. At least it got to sillier things like Australia being upside down or the Picasso at the end. I'm not sure how it was received in the 70s. Obviously, the audience is laughing, so they find it funny. This bit, I think, as it stands, doesn't really... It needs to be unpacked a little bit. Conversation about this needs to be had. I'm not crying for censorship, but hey, you know, this entirely punched down at a bunch of different stereotypes. So I'm not okay with it. Then we bring back Debbie Dunbar. We'd seen her a few times before, and in this case now she has got the Debbie Dunbar show. Always a thrill to see the young Miss Dunbar doing her thing. And in this case, it seems to be a disco-flavored number in which she screams, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Good for you, Debbie. I hope that your star continues to rise. Then we bring back another familiar face, and that is Lieutenant Trask, who we had seen and gotten to know just a little bit in passing on the Mary Hartman show. And I don't remember him dying during that program, but apparently here he has died 3 times in one night. So that is a little bit of the interview with the person who had a afterlife experience and came back to tell about it. And apparently coming back to life or dying is much like household chores. Virgil Sims is then back again after his disastrous trip jumping motorhomes, Winnebagos specifically. Ever since the failure of that venture, he has gotten into a book about how to repair cars or how to, get rid of them if you don't want them anymore. It's a pretty clever bit. It's fairly self-explanatory. And that's all of the content of the show, and that is where we end our week. And I hadn't planned a 5th person to talk about for our villains topic, but, I was thinking of Muriel Haggers and how awful she was to Charlie. And for a while, she was a fairly big villain in the series with her scam to take Charlie for all that he and Loretta had together. And she pretty much got away with it. I don't know that there is any redeeming this character. I don't know that there's a third dimension to her. She's really selfish, and she just wanted revenge on Charlie and Loretta. She saw no consequences, so I don't know that there's any reason to think that she would become a better person. So if we were to think of the 3-dimensionality that I tend to approach characters with, I'm curious if there was any way, but I kind of see this character just existing off in the world and not learning anything, getting away with whatever, scamming whoever they need to for the money. I mean, we'd have to have some interesting story to get to a point where this character had a face turn, as we say in the wrestling world. I'm not in the wrestling world other than liking it, but you know what I mean. So hey, that is our look at the bad guys. Next week we'll have another topic of the week, I suppose. That's a thing that I've been doing lately. So everyone, thank you so much for watching with me. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions down in the comments. Thank you for being you, and we will see you next week in Fernwood.